Can you believe what just went down in the glitzy streets of New York? A 13-year-old just stole the spotlight from seasoned designers, fashion moguls, and yes, even the paparazzi scrambling for the perfect shot. And no, this isn't your average kid with a lemonade stand story. This is history being made right before our eyes. Who would have thought that amidst the flashing cameras, couture chaos, and celebrity chaos, a teenager would drop a line so bold it left the fashion world gasping? But here's the twist. This isn't just about a cute little outfit or a trendy sneaker line. Oh no, this is a story dripping with ambition, legacy, and yes, a hint of scandal. You see, while everyone was busy counting likes, clout, and who wore what, one mother-daughter duo quietly flipped the entire narrative on its head. Melody Shari isn't just proud, she's orchestrating a full-on cultural takeover. And her daughter Mariah is leading the charge. But wait, what really happened backstage? Who was scrambling behind the scenes, and who was fuming in the shadows watching their empire crumble in real time? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to wonder if New York Fashion Week will ever recover from this seismic shakeup. The runway has just become the wildest battleground of ambition, betrayal, and pure genius, and trust me, you do not want to blink. All right? Hold on to your seats, because what just unfolded with Melody, Shari, and her daughter Mariah is nothing short of explosive. A whirlwind of ambition, power, and drama that would make any reality TV show look like a quiet afternoon tea. And if you think New York Fashion Week is all glitter, champagne, and polite applause, think again. Because behind the flashing cameras and designer gowns lies a storm of intrigue, whispered rivalries, and backstage chaos that nobody is talking about, but everyone is noticing. And at the center of it all is a mother-daughter duo who are rewriting the rules of the game in real time. Melody Shari, visionary entrepreneur mother, an unapologetic powerhouse from Huntsville, Alabama, is not the type of person you cross lightly. She has been through public feuds, messy divorces, and drama that would fill volumes, and yet she emerges stronger, smarter, and more strategic than anyone could have predicted. While her daughter Mariah Rogers, only 13 years old, has become the youngest designer to make waves on one of the most prestigious runways in the world. And this is not a cute little story about a teenager dabbling in fashion. This is an audacious, sleek, and boundary-pushing collection that left seasoned designers, editors, and stylists scrambling and whispering behind the velvet ropes. And the reactions were instantaneous and electric, jaws dropping as people tried to process the sheer talent, confidence, and poise of a girl who should be worrying about homework rather than haute couture. But this was a calculated symphony of vision and mentorship, because Melody has never been content with just surviving. She has always been building, strategizing, and paving a path not for herself, not for revenge or attention, but for her children, to create opportunities that are bigger, bolder, and more historic than anyone could have imagined. And sources close to the event, who requested anonymity, described the scene as surreal, with designers who thought they were untouchable suddenly realizing that a mother and her teenage daughter were controlling the narrative, dictating trends and setting a new standard for ambition and creativity. And it wasn't just the clothing that turned heads. Melody's 7th Avenue beauty line was part of the show. Her elixirs, body butters, and soaps giving models a glow that matched the brilliance of Mariah's tennis-inspired designs. And the combination of their work created a visual and sensory spectacle that had the crowd buzzing and the industry rethinking what they thought was possible. While online fans erupted with praise and shock, declaring Mariah a prodigy and Melody a genius. And even critics who had been quick to dismiss Melody as a reality TV figurehead were forced to acknowledge that this was more than luck, more than influence. This was calculated brilliance executed under intense pressure. And the contrast between Melody's triumph and the ongoing controversies surrounding her ex-husband, Martell Holt, was stark, creating a narrative that the public couldn't resist. Watching a woman and her daughter rise while others floundered became a story in itself. And backstage, chaos reigned as models changed outfits in minutes. Stylists scrambled to keep accessories in place, and the pressure of one of the most high-stakes events in fashion history mounted. Yet Mariah stayed calm, focused, and commanding. A young leader orchestrating a collection that would be remembered for years. And Melody moved with equal precision, managing her beauty line, supporting her daughter, calming nerves, and ensuring that every detail was flawless, showing a level of multitasking and vision that few could match. And while some online commentators attempted to dismiss their success as insider advantage or nepotism, the overwhelming response was one of awe and admiration, recognizing that the combination of talent, strategy, and relentless drive had created a historic moment. And for those who remember the messy battles of the past, the divorces, the public feuds, the drama surrounding reality TV exposure, this moment is a triumph, a testament to resilience, foresight, and the power of transforming adversity into opportunity. Because while others remained mired in scandal or controversy, Melody focused on building, mentoring, and setting the stage for her children to shine. And what unfolded at New York Fashion Week is not just a proud family moment. It is a cultural milestone, a reminder that history can be made at any age, and that preparation, vision, and unwavering determination can turn the impossible into reality. And as the cameras flashed, the lights blazed, and the crowd murmured in astonishment. It was clear that Melody, Shari, and Mariah Rogers had not just participated in Fashion Week, they had redefined it, taking control of the narrative, creating legacy, and setting a new standard for what it means to succeed under pressure. And the echoes of this triumph will be felt far beyond the runway, serving as both inspiration and warning to anyone who underestimates the combination of talent, strategy, and a mother's determination to create a path where none existed. And so as the day ended and the models exited, and the audience erupted in applause, it was evident that this was more than a show, more than a debut. It was a statement, a seismic moment that will not be forgotten. Proof that brilliance can emerge from preparation, perseverance, and a refusal to let history pass unnoticed. The story gets even more intense when you start looking behind the velvet ropes and the flashing cameras. Because what happened backstage at New York Fashion Week reads like a thriller disguised as a fashion show, with whispers of secret alliances, last-minute sabotage attempts, and a few egos that were left bruised and broken in the process. And while Mariah was calmly overseeing her collection with the focus of a seasoned professional, there were designers and stylists who were secretly plotting, some claiming that the teenage girl had no business being there, others grumbling that Melody Shari had somehow leveraged influence and connections to position her daughter front and center, and sources close to the scene who wished to remain unnamed for obvious reasons described the atmosphere as electric with tension, a mix of awe and envy that hung in the air like the scent of expensive perfume. And it wasn't just the fashion insiders who were reacting. The social media sphere exploded as images of Mariah's tennis-inspired outfits went viral within minutes. Fans speculated about how a 13-year-old could create something so polished and sophisticated, some accusing the mother-daughter duo of bending the rules of the industry, others showering them with admiration for their vision and audacity. And there were those who claimed that backstage chaos reached a boiling point when accessories were missing, garments were misplaced, and rival designers attempted to insert themselves into the spotlight. But Melody, ever the strategist, stayed several steps ahead, coordinating with her team, reassuring models, and ensuring that every detail of her beauty line, from elixirs to body butters, enhanced the overall presentation. And the result was a seamless display of talent and precision that left even the harshest critics momentarily speechless. And the reactions were not limited to whispers and online comments. Some industry veterans reportedly approached Melody in awe, asking how she had managed to pull off such a flawless integration of fashion and beauty, while others, clearly threatened by the sudden disruption to the expected hierarchy, grumbled that the attention Mariah received overshadowed years of experience and careful planning on their part. And it seemed that for every cheerleader celebrating this historic moment, there was at least one naysayer trying to downplay it, but the momentum was unstoppable. Because what Melody and Mariah achieved was more than just a showcase of clothes and cosmetics. It was a statement, a disruption of expectations, and a clear signal that legacy, preparation, and audacity can outshine even the most entrenched power structures. And the stakes were amplified by the contrast with Melody's past, where she had endured public scrutiny, a messy divorce, an endless drama that threatened to derail both her career and her personal life. And in many ways, this triumph was not just about Mariah or Melody. It was a symbolic victory over every critic detractor, an obstacle that had ever doubted their abilities, and as the lights reflected off polished floors and cameras flashed incessantly, the sense of history being made was tangible. With every model who walked the runway, every fan who posted a photo, and every whispered compliment contributing to a collective acknowledgement that something extraordinary was unfolding. And yet, behind the scenes, the intrigue did not stop, because there were reports of anonymous leaks hinting at jealous rivalries, designers questioning the legitimacy of Mariah's invitation, and some insiders claiming that Melody had strategically orchestrated alliances to ensure that her daughter's moment could not be overshadowed. And whether these rumors were true or exaggerated matters little in the grand scheme, because the optics were undeniable, the talent was undeniable, and the result was a cultural moment that forced even skeptics to pause and acknowledge the audacity, intelligence, and charisma of this mother-daughter duo. And the fallout from this event has only begun to ripple outward, with fashion blogs, talk shows, and social media accounts dissecting every angle, every outfit, and every strategic move, turning what could have been a simple debut into a spectacle, a story of power, influence, and intergenerational brilliance that few could have predicted. And the best part is that while the crowd was applauding and cameras were rolling, Mariah was learning firsthand the realities of ambition, leadership, and navigating a world that can be as ruthless as it is glamorous. And Melody was quietly proving that strategic thinking, preparation, and a refusal to be sidelined can turn even a teenager's dream into a world-shaking accomplishment. And in a space filled with seasoned professionals, the sheer audacity of a 13-year-old designer backed by a mother who knows exactly how to maneuver made waves that will be felt for years. And by the time the lights dimmed and the applause echoed, it was clear that history had been made, that new boundaries had been pushed, and that both mother and daughter had orchestrated a spectacle that combined creativity, business acumen, and sheer guts in a way that few in the industry had ever seen before, solidifying their place not just as participants but as trailblazers whose story will be talked about long after the fashion week frenzy fades, as the spotlight continued to blaze and the echoes of applause lingered in the air. The full weight of what Melody, Shari, and Mariah Rogers had accomplished began to settle in. And it was not just a triumph of style and aesthetics, but a seismic shift in perception, showing the world that age, experience, and reputation are no longer the sole measures of influence or success. And while the cameras captured every confident step Mariah took on the runway, behind the scenes there were whispers of envy, disbelief, and even outright panic among some of the industry's established figures who had assumed that they could dictate trends and control the narrative. And now, a 13-year-old and her mother were rewriting the rules, forcing everyone to acknowledge that legacy, preparation, and audacity could outperform years of experience and carefully cultivated status. And as the evening unfolded, more and more insider accounts began to emerge. Stories of last-minute chaos, hurried fittings, and logistical nightmares that somehow transformed into a flawless, polished show thanks to the meticulous orchestration of Melody and her team. And sources describe the environment as a combination of controlled chaos and strategic genius, with Melody moving from model to stylist to PR coordinator with effortless authority, making decisions in real time that ensured the presentation was nothing short of perfection. And the models themselves reportedly praised her leadership, describing her as encouraging, patient, and inspiring in a world where egos and tension often overshadow talent. And the juxtaposition of Melody's calm mastery and her daughter's youthful brilliance created a spectacle that was impossible to ignore, generating viral buzz, trending topics, and even heated debates about fairness, influence, and the changing face of fashion. And while detractors attempted to spin the narrative, claiming that connections or favoritism had given Mariah an unfair advantage, the overwhelming evidence pointed to something far more impressive: the combination of relentless work ethic, visionary planning, and a refusal to allow past setbacks or public drama to define them. And it became apparent that Melody's past, including her highly publicized divorce, battles with critics, and previous controversies, had not weakened her, but rather forged a resilience and strategic mind capable of navigating one of the world's most competitive and scrutinized industries. And social media was alight with fan reactions, many praising the mother-daughter duo for proving that talent and determination can overcome obstacles that most would consider insurmountable, and others speculating on the ripple effects this historic moment would have on the fashion world, with some suggesting that established designers may never view the industry the same way again, recognizing that influence is no longer limited to age, tenure, or traditional networks. And as the reviews rolled in, from fashion critics to casual viewers, it was clear that Mariah's debut line had struck a chord, combining creativity, sophistication, and youthful audacity in a way that commanded attention. And Melody's beauty line added depth, elegance, and polish, completing a presentation that was both cohesive and revolutionary, and beyond the show itself. Industry insiders noted that the strategic timing, marketing acumen, and ability to create a narrative around success and legacy had amplified the impact, turning what could have been a simple debut into a defining cultural moment. And meanwhile, discussions of Melody's ex-husband and past detractors only served to highlight the contrast, underscoring how far she had come from public controversies to a position of undeniable authority and respect. And as the night concluded, it was not just applause that filled the room, but a recognition that history had been made, that boundaries had been pushed, and that a new standard of intergenerational creativity and leadership had been established. And the energy did not stop with the show, as conversations, posts, and articles continued to dissect every detail, celebrating the ingenuity, foresight, and sheer courage required to achieve such a feat at a moment when scrutiny is constant and pressure is relentless. And Melody and Mariah had done more than showcase fashion. They had orchestrated an unforgettable moment that would inspire other young talents and remind the world that audacity, preparation, and mentorship can turn dreams into tangible legacy. And as the night ended, the applause faded, but the significance remained: a statement that the next generation of leaders, creators, and innovators can emerge at any age, supported by guidance, vision, and an unwavering commitment to excellence, leaving an indelible mark on an industry that thrives on drama, spectacle, and reinvention, proving that the combination of talent, strategy, and heart can conquer even the most intimidating stages and redefine what it means to make history. So now that you've seen the full story, ask yourself this: have you ever witnessed ambition, talent, and strategy collide in such a spectacular way? Melody, Shari, and Mariah Rogers didn't just show up at New York Fashion Week. They shook the foundations, challenged the norms, and left the entire fashion world scrambling to catch up. This isn't just a story about a mother and daughter. It's a blueprint for turning setbacks into triumphs, critics into witnesses, and dreams into history. Think about it. How many times have we seen people settle for mediocrity because the path seemed too hard or the odds too stacked? Melody and Mariah are proving that if you have vision, preparation, and relentless determination, you can rewrite the rules and make history at any age. Now it's your turn. Don't just sit there scrolling. Share this story, spark a conversation, and tell the world what you think about this unprecedented moment. Who else could rise like this in the face of drama and skepticism? Comment your thoughts below. Hit that like button if this story shocked or inspired you, and make sure to subscribe for more unfiltered, jaw-dropping stories that reveal the truths behind the headlines. You don't want to miss what's coming next, because the drama, ambition, and history-making moments are only getting bigger. History-making moments are only getting bigger.